What is biblical hospitality? Hospitality is something I learned when I went to Israel a few years back, and we got to visit the Bedouins out into the Negev, the desert region of Israel. They invited us into our tents and immediately offered us some sweet tea, and they said, "It is so sweet to see you. We want to offer you this tea." And they continued to offer us homemade flatbreads and then coffee as well. And the coffee also symbolized the bitterness, and it was some of the strongest coffee I've ever had in it. And they also said, just as the tea was sweet in welcoming you into our tent, the coffee and the bitterness is to symbolize how bitter it will be to see you leave. It was so amazing to hear about the hospitality of the Bedouins, whether you were a friend of theirs, a neighbor, or someone who they had no idea who you were, like us. They invited you in and treated you just like you were the most special person in the area. It's amazing to see biblical hospitality reflected as I experienced there in Israel. In Genesis 18 and 19, Abraham and Lot actually do something very similar to what I experienced there in Israel. And actually, they welcomed in some strangers to be a part of their tent and offered them food and water. And it turned out that they were serving angels unawares. In Leviticus 19, verses 33 and 34, it says this: "When a stranger sojourns with you in your land, you shall not do him wrong. You shall treat the stranger who sojourns with you as a native among you, and you shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." And so God sets up this biblical principle of hospitality, of welcoming strangers into your heart and into your home, to treat them just as you would treat yourself, with respect and honor and dignity. And later in Matthew 25, Jesus teaches a parable about a king who has gone away and comes back, and he says this. He says, "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.' Then the righteous will answer him, saying, 'Lord, when did we see you? And when did we do these things for you?' And he says, 'Truly, truly, I say to you, as you did it to the least of these, you did it to me.'" That's biblical hospitality. We see hospitality all throughout Scripture. In 1 Timothy and Titus, it's actually a mandate of those leaders in the church, the elders and shepherds and pastors. How many pastors do you know who have been let go from a church because they weren't hospitable enough? It's a qualification in the Bible. Also in Romans, in 1 Peter, in Hebrews, it all is commanded, be hospitable, welcome the stranger among you. This is biblical hospitality. And that is what we are called to do for every believer. It is mandated in Scripture to show the stranger hospitality. And that is what we desire here to be about at Grace Community Church. Hospitable, welcoming to the stranger, bringing them in just as they are our family.